We're joined by Michael. How are you doing?
Russell, you okay?
Where are you?
South Africa, Cape Town.
I thought you were in India for cricket.
No, I went there in April, came back in June, and then I've had a couple of months back, and then now I'm in South Africa.
You West Brom fans, you must be doing something right.
Look at that view behind here.
What's weather like?
It's just coming into summer over here. It's about 25.
Is it? What's
Hmm.
happening with cage fighting, Michael?
Nothing yet. Obviously, I've had a bit of a tough year this year,
Yeah, I
obviously,
remember
with
your mum
a
passing on.
lot,
Sorry
a
to hear
lot
that.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was meant to do one in January, but obviously, Mum passed away, and then there's been a lot happening. So I think I'm going to do one in March next year.
Yeah. What weight?
12 stone. So I'm about 14 stone 6 now.
You'll knock that off.
I'll get it off. I'm not back in the UK until January. So I'll start training back then, I think.
I'll get my shirt ironed then, shall I?
Yeah.
A lot's been going on then since I last seen you. What do you make at boxing scene at moment, Michael? What do you think to it?
um, it's a bit of a dodgy one, really. I think obviously Turkey's trying to take the lot over,
Yeah.
which I don't necessarily think would be that bad for the sport. I don't know about political reasons if that would be any good, but I don't want to mention that on this channel. But for the sport, he obviously does make the best fights and makes the best people fight the best people, like he did with Canelo and like he does. But I think in the next couple of years, you'll see Eddie Hills sell out and move away from boxing. For the last few years, he's obviously said like, I won't be in the sport forever, and there's more to life than boxing. And he doesn't want to be like Bob Arum. If you look at a lot of videos, you can hear him saying stuff like that. So I think obviously he's going to sell out. And I don't know, really. I just think too many people are just looking for money fights now rather than, like before back in the day. Like I wasn't a massive fan of him when he was boxing. I like him more now. But Carl Froch, like going on the road and fighting absolutely anybody, Jermaine Taylor in America and Andre Ward and all these people. He's like CV. I don't think you're going to get many boxers at the moment with CVs like that where they'll fight absolutely everybody because they know they can get like massive money for joke fights, like fighting Jake Paul and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with Anthony Joshua and Conor Benn and your Johnny Fishers? What do you think to that where they going to go in their careers now? Who are they fighting?
Well, I think AJ has been cleverly set up by Eddie Hills this weekend. So, like we're talking about with Dave Allen, Dave Allen beat Johnny Fisher and then became like he was always like well liked by the people, wasn't he? But he became a bit of a, I can't explain what I mean, but people liked him, but they thought he was rubbish. And then when he beat Johnny Fisher, they thought, oh, maybe he's turned the corner and maybe he's turned his life around and maybe there might be something in it. So basically, Eddie set that fight up for Dave Allen and this big Russian guy to essentially whoever won will fight AJ, knowing that AJ will probably beat both of them. But
Mm.
it like he markets the Russian because now everybody knows him because he's beat Dave Allen. And if Dave Allen would have beat the Russian, it would have been like, well, Dave Allen's turned the corner. They're obviously on about he was probably going to fight Wilder if he beat the Russian, but I think he would have fought AJ, to be honest. I think basically that whoever won that fight on Saturday night was next in line for AJ.
Yeah. Could a case be made that the public now are looking at the lazy rhino was like a Eddie the Eagle type character? A guy he's not going to cut the
Mhm.
mustard, but he's kind of like carved a niche that he's Mr. Likeable and Mr. Humble kind of thing, promising us that he's in the shape of his life and the media gasping when he got on the scales and realised he weren't. Do you think he's like an
Yeah.
Eddie the Eagle type guy? Whereas we go, oh well, it's the Rhino in it, way, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I texted you fight week, didn't I, saying
Yeah,
he's got no chance on Saturday night. I thought he'd get stopped, to be fair.
yeah,
And to be fair, I'll give him a bit of credit. I think he might have been a bit better shape than what he looked in. Because sometimes you don't always have to look amazing to be like, do you know what I mean? Tyson Fury sometimes looks terrible, but he's actually fit. And to be honest, to take some of the shots that he took on Saturday night,
mm,
he must have been in all right condition. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he's got a good chin anyway. But I think the only way that they'll take Dave Allen now is sell the arena out one more time and give him a British title fight, I think.
yeah. But to fight for the British title, the rules state has got to go into the fight off a win. So they've got to get him a win
Yeah.
somewhere, haven't they?
So they'll sell him out against like an absolute nobody. Put him on like an undercard of some sort, maybe even a Conor Benn undercard, something like that.
Yeah,
Get him get him a win against an absolute nobody, and then market him again as like, how at the end of the fight he said, "I'm just not good enough at world level, and this guy's top 20, and I'm not good enough." So
yeah,
the next time they'll market it as like this British title fight is my world title fight kind of thing. So he'll sell the arena out again for Dave Allen to win the British title,
yeah,
or
yeah.
or try.
Yeah. What did you think to Bean's performance on the night? Let me just play this to you. I think I've got it here. Bean going on about strongman mountains, going into full super bean mode.
I didn't hear it, to be fair. Obviously,
Play it again.
I'm away.
Play it again.
I've watched the
Hang
fight.
on.
I can't
Hang on
hear
a
what
sec.
you're saying.
You ready? Bean saying he's a strongman mountain, going into full bean mode. Uh,
Yeah, he just talks a load of shit. He does. Honestly, I can't get on board with him. He basically says anything to sell a fight or to brown nose somebody or make out like he knows what he's on about. If you look at all his interviews, I just think a lot of all he says is just a load of rubbish. To be honest, I just I can't listen to the bloke. To be honest.
Do you know what he forgot to say at the end? Normally when the fighters kiss and hug at the end, he always tends to say, "There's the respect." He forgot, didn't he, this weekend?
Yeah, I know. I just obviously he's. I think he's just doing saying anything he can and getting involved with whoever he can to stay relevant. Obviously, he had a few years out where people don't know where he went missing to, do they? So
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to what he says, to be honest.
Jonathan's texted me this morning. He texts me 13, 14 a day, and he's actually good. He keeps me going if my mind goes blank, because sometimes we all have crap days. And Jonathan says, and I quote, is Superbean the Kenneth Williams of boxing? Kenneth Williams
Well,
of the Carry On films.
yeah, he
Is
is,
he?
though, isn't he? He
Yeah,
is. He is. I just, I don't know. Like, I think he's basically only still in the industry because of how many years he's been in the industry. And
yeah,
if he's like story about being ill was true, which we've disputed, but
yeah.
if it was, then I think people are just giving him a handout because of his past, how much he's done in the past, kind of thing. But what he says these days, like I said, I can't listen to him.
Well, he was at Sky 29 years and he left and he's beat cancer, he says, but the Sky have not so much as give him one comment or even so much as left a statement on their website. So it's all shrouded in mystery. And my argument is this: if you work for a company 29 years, where your dad were a big noise when it first started, because his dad were one of the big movers and shakers, one with Alan Sugar. Because Alan
Yeah.
Sugar got the contract to make the dishes, didn't he, with Amstrad? And Bean's dad was sort of like in the mix with all that lot. They've not so much give him a text message on their websites, not one. And if that's the case and he did have cancer, I think Sky are absolute scumbags, in my opinion. But there's a bit more
Mm.
to it with Superbean or AKA Kenneth Williams than meets the eye. What do you think?
There was a lot of rumours. Obviously, I'm not
Yeah,
as qualified and don't get the same information that you get, but there was a lot of rumours going around that he was in rehab for gambling addiction.
yeah,
That's what I heard at the time. Obviously, there's a lot of other things going by and whatever.
yeah,
But to be honest, he's had that many people questioning him on whether he had cancer or not. If that was me personally, I'd just release the medical
yeah,
things. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure why you can't just say, here, this is where I've been, this is my operations, this is whatever. There were so many rumours going around that he had a massive gambling problem and he was in gambling rehab and all this kind of stuff. But like you said, like if his story, explanation, whatever it is true, then that's bad on Sky not to
yeah,
comment on it, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah. It is. It's a mystery. And it's a whodunit. Uh,
Yeah.
okay. AC Shiner Light. That's Alex. Is ex. I think he's ex Navy guy, a Scottish kid. He's one of them guys that go around locking up paedophiles and people chasing young kids about. He's put a comment on it, and it says, "Russ, did you see the Gad saying the Lazy Rhino was 4 rounds down, and in the next breath, the fight." This is when we got to round 10, the Rhino were 4 rounds down. He said the fight was on a knife edge. He's cuckoo, talks some amount of shite. Then he was throwing left hooks, sat ringside. His tongue, and he's got a picture of a lizard next to him, was licking the canvas, man. What do you think? What did you think to the Gad next to the ring in his red leather jacket with his Bono shades on, throwing left hooks and right hooks or right uppercuts next to the ring? What did you think? He went into full Gad mode, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, the whole comment about 4 rounds down and then it was on a knife edge. I mean, there was a couple of moments in the fight where obviously Dave Allen lost pretty much every round, didn't he?
Yeah,
He lost pretty much every round. But there was a couple of moments where he caught him at the end of a round and he seemed to be coming on. Now, my opinion before the fight was that the fight couldn't possibly go the distance, so I was wrong.
yeah,
But I basically thought Dave Allen either gets blasted out or he wears that guy down the same way that he wore Johnny Fisher down and stops him late or do you know what I mean? So to me, that Russian guy, I didn't see a way that Russian guy was going to last 12 rounds. He's massive. He looks like a robot. He's gassed in fights before, stuff like that. So the only excuse really for the this fight's now on a knife edge is if it's a couple of times where Dave Allen's came on strong at the end of a round, which did happen a couple of times, but not enough for him to win the round.
yeah,
And then he's thinking similar storyline to the Johnny Fisher fight. That's the only reason that he could have said it. And sometimes I think in sporting events, and this could be boxing, football, cricket, anything, just to keep the audience watching, like stop, say Dave Allen 6 rounds down. Not every boxing fan would, but some casual fans might think, well, this is rubbish. I'm going to turn this off. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So when the commentators then say a comment like that to a casual fan that doesn't really know or something, they might go, "Oh, something's changing now," and they carry on watching. Do you know what I mean? So I think sometimes commentators and stuff they just say comments like that to make things seem closer than it is to keep the viewers watching. That's my opinion. And as for him wearing his silly red outfit and his shades, he always dresses and acts a bit quirky, doesn't he, the Gad? And if he's throwing left hooks and that in the crowd, he's just probably supporting Dave Allen, isn't he? I don't mind the Gad, to be honest, but, he's interesting entertainment to watch. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure all his boxing opinions are what we should all listen to, but that's what my opinion is on it anyway.
Okay. Paul Smith came out on Talksport and he said the pundits was telling us about a fight that he wasn't seeing, and he came out and he said Rhino is a gimmick, his best win is a gimmick, meaning obviously Johnny Fisher, aka Big Elmer.
Mm.
And then 48 hours later, Paul Smith came out and sort of like retracted that. But what we didn't have any mention of was the 2 points took off Macbedoff and the
Yeah.
low blows from the Rhino, nothing happened. And at the rules meeting, they changed it from a 10 rounder to a 12 rounder, and Macbeth were like shocked. What do you make of all
Yeah.
that? Do you think it were all geared up for a Rhino win and then the Joshua fight?
Yeah, like we know boxing's a corrupt sport in general anyway, and we've all seen that, we've all experienced it, we know how it goes. You know, you get hometown decisions and this, and whatever. So I think they made it 12 rounds when it should have been 10 for the reason that I just said,
Yeah,
because Dave Allen has got a bit of an engine when he's fit. He's shown a bit of an engine in the Johnny Fisher fight. He took Johnny Fisher's best and then came on strong and that. And they basically saw Dave Allen's chance to beat this guy as a basically repeat performance of the Johnny Fisher.
yeah,
Soak up what this guy's got for 4 rounds, knacker him out, and then stop him because he's knackered, basically. So that was the whole 12 round thing.
yeah,
The referee taking points off Makhmedov and not taking him off Dave Allen, again, same thing. Both of them should have had points off, really, or neither of them, one or the other. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And then, and then I think the commentators. That's what I mean. You get fights where the commentary's totally biased. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
So, I mean, I thought the commentary was biased towards Tyson Fury when he fought Usyk the last time.
yeah. I did.
I watched it and I felt like the fight was closer than it was because I was listening to the commentary. And then I watched it back the next day and I thought, wow, Usyk's won that easily. So basically the commentators will commentate and like one guy can land 3 shots and they won't say anything, but the second that their guy lands something, they go, "Oh, massive shot from whoever." Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's just boxing, really. I mean, that happens every single big fight that there is. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And obviously, Eddie Hearn realised after the Johnny Fisher, because basically, when the Rhino fought Johnny Fisher, Johnny Fisher was such a massive ticket seller. Eddie Hearn was basically trying to protect him and make him fight as many cans as he possibly can and
Yeah.
keep selling out the copper box and doing all that kind of stuff. And he basically thought that Johnny Fisher was getting Dave Allen when he was totally finished. I think he'd lost to David Price. He quit against Fraser Clarke. Then he had a couple of fights in Doncaster Leisure Centre against absolutely nobodies. And Eddie Hearn thought that he could cash Dave Allen's name in and tag that onto Johnny Fisher, if you know what I mean. And then when Dave Allen's basically beaten twice, hasn't he, essentially, then became the public have gained confidence, if you
He
want to say,
became
in
the new
Dave
Elmer
Allen.
Fudd, didn't he?
Yeah, and the public have like gained confidence in him and thought, oh, maybe Dave Allen's turned a corner and all this. He basically ploughed a lot into Dave Allen, gave him a big headline fight, thinking, well, if he does do this guy, we've got the perfect Joshua opponent. Because essentially, Eddie Hearn knows even Dave Allen's best night and Anthony Joshua's worst night. And I'm not a massive AJ fan, but AJ still absolutely batters him. So essentially, AJ's next few fights, Eddie Hearn wants to give him as much money as possible with as least risk as possible, which is why Eddie Hearn was deadly serious about AJ fighting Jake Paul next.
Will we see Elmer Fudd versus Eddie the Eagle next year? Yes or no? Trilogy.
Yes, I think so now. I think the
Yeah,
Johnny Fisher, basically, I think now Johnny Fisher's obviously lost once, but we all know he's lost twice.
yeah.
I think Eddie Hearn won't want to put him in with Dave Allen, but Johnny Fisher will have a couple of comeback knockover jobs of
Yeah.
people that have got absolutely no chance of beating him because Johnny Fisher will still sell tickets. He's such a popular guy around his area that he'll still sell tickets. So we'll get him on a couple of undercards, 8 rounders against, taxi drivers or Russian nobodies or not Russian, but you know
Bulgarian
what I mean? Like,
plumbers.
yeah, or or bloody, Polish taxi drivers or bloody some guy that we've never heard of or whatever. And then basically build it up, Johnny Fisher v Dave Allen 3, after he's already cashed a few more Johnny Fisher tickets in a couple of times. So I reckon you might see two more Johnny Fisher fights where he knocks cans over. And then he's obviously changed his trainer as well, hasn't he now? So they'll say, well, he's a new man under this new trainer and all this. And then it'll be, right, the Dave Allen trilogy, sell an arena out and pray to God that Johnny Fisher wins is Eddie Hearn's new
Yeah.
strategy, I reckon.
Well, my mate's just sent me something here. Johnny Fisher's going to fight Herbert Matovu, a guy from Uganda, on
There we
the
go.
6th of December in Monte Carlo, 300 yards from Eddie Hearn's penthouse. What do you think to that?
But that's pretty much. I mean, I didn't think he'd find a Ugandan, but that's pretty much what I was saying, wasn't it? A taxi driver. So he's
Yeah.
gone over to Uganda. The geezer's probably never had a boxing match before in his life, or if he has, it's.
Well, I'm going to read
So
the
Johnny
guy's
Fisher, will
CV out. The guy's CV this year alone, 2025, he's beat Umar Salamov, and he's fought Salamov and lost in an 8-rounder. He's then fought Alphonse Mac Tumbo, 16, 12, and 1. He beat him in 2 rounds. That were an 8-rounder. He's then fought Mitsuro Tajima, a 12 and 1 guy. He's done him in 5 rounds, which was an 8-rounder. And then his last 8-rounder was against Anafi Subari, a 3 and 1 guy. And he's now got Elmer Fudd on the 6th of December, 300 yards from Eddie Hills's 4.4 million euro penthouse. 300 yard away. How's about that? And the fight is going to take place at, let's have a look, the Salas de Etoiles, Monte Carlo, Monaco. Promoter Eddie Hills, matchmaker Tom Plankerwood, Dallas. Pop, pop, bang.
to me, I mean, if you're Johnny Fisher there,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're going to take a few fans to Monte Carlo, ain't you? Because obviously that's that posh show where they only have a certain amount anyway, don't they?
200
I think
people
it's
allowed
important.
to watch it, and
Yeah.
they're all tax exiles.
So that's that one. But to me, if you're Johnny Fisher there, it doesn't really make much sense because unless you're only doing it for the money and you know that you've got no potential to ever make it anywhere in boxing and you only want to cash out in boxing, so all you're doing is trying to make money, you don't want to become the British champion, you don't want to potentially become the European champion. He can never be a world champion, so we'll forget about that one anyway. So your goal is basically only money, you might as well do it. But if you want to progress as a boxer and you've just lost to Dave Allen twice and second time convincingly lost to him, why would you want to fight some random Ugandan guy that's got no benefit to you? You can't learn any skills against this, you know, farmer from Uganda. Do you know what I mean? What's that going to benefit you? Why could you not fight somebody a bit lower level than Dave Allen, domestic person that you know you're going to beat, but like you can learn some things against? Like, do you know what I mean? If you've got any ambition at all to do anything in boxing apart from money, why are you flying to Monte Carlo to beat some Ugandan man up that you could beat up without training anyway? That's just going to learn your bad habits. I played cricket when I was younger, and when you play low level and you play against people that you're better than, it just teaches you bad habits and you don't learn the right techniques and stuff because you know you're better than these people anyway. So when he's boxing this Ugandan guy, he's going to have no need to defend himself or to box properly or to throw a jab or because he's basically going to be able to go in that ring and do whatever the hell he feels like doing anyway and still beat this guy. So how's that going to put whatever he's working on in training with his new trainer into practice? Because boxing people like that are absolutely atrocious is just going to teach him more bad habits that he's already picked up anyway, and he's just going to do two or three of them and then lose again. My opinion.
Yeah. The BBC have just put a statement out 7 hours ago. It says it's Big Freeze against TKV is off. TKV's injured, but I obviously put mine out yesterday at 3 o'clock, didn't I? Where
Yeah.
does Big Freeze go now? And is that a genuine injury, or has somebody had a word with TKV to pull out to torpedo Adrian Mole's BBC show? What do you think?
I think it's a big kick in the teeth for Fraser Clarke because,
Yeah, we like Freeze, don't we?
yeah, I think he could have, should have won that fight, probably would have won that fight. Not definitely, because obviously he has had one fight since he got his cheekbone smashed in, hasn't he? But like, you know, that TKV can box a bit, can't he? I mean, he's not brilliant, but he was boxing David Adelaide's head off until he lost, wasn't he? So he's not awful, is he? He's not bad. Um, but Fraser Clarke would probably have beat him.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it's a genuine injury. Obviously, I can't say, but I think people are trying to stitch Ben Shalom up, aren't they? So I could imagine the rumours are probably right, but I don't know enough. I'm not as connected as you are to comment.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, the only thing you can probably do is fight another couple of cans and wait around for it because Fraser Clarke's not going to be a world champion. So he either, I don't even know who the European heavyweight champion is, but he could try and go for that maybe. But
Well, he's 35 next birthday. It's Big Freeze. Do you think he needs to get a move on now?
yeah, he ain't got much time to mess about with, has he? So
No.
that's what I mean. He either risks it and goes for, I don't know who this guy is. I'm not, obviously, I've been away all year. I'm not sure, but he either risks it and gives it up and tries to fight for the European title. But he hasn't really got 6 months to be messing around waiting for TKV because he'll be 36 and getting on a bit. So
Well, he's
it's put Fraser
35
Clarke in a
next
bit of
year.
a,
He's in his 35th year, Fraser.
it's put him in a bit of a bad spot, really, hasn't it? This really.
Yeah. Would you say then that what Eddie were trying to sell us at the weekend, technically, the headline show was like going to buy a BMW with alloys, aircon, full Napa leather, sat nav and that, and then sighting a BMW at Tamworth, dropping you off at your house, no sat nav, no alloys, got wheel trims, uh, no electric windows, no aircon, no nothing. Do you think it's kind of like that? It's not like it says in the brochure kind of thing.
Yeah, well, he sold it like a massive event. I mean, the atmosphere looked amazing, what I saw, to be fair, but that was Dave Allen's doing, really, wasn't it? He did sell a
Yeah,
lot of tickets and stuff. But basically, that fight, in the day of boxing that we're in at the moment, like you've got Crawford, Canelo,
yeah.
you've got Ben Eubanks, a big fight, to be fair, obviously. You've got a lot of big fights happening, Fury v Usyk, stuff like this. That fight is not a main event in the world of boxing that we're accustomed to and living in now.
Mm,
For apart from the fact that everyone loves Dave Allen, don't they? And thinks he's humble and loves him and down to earth kind of guy. And the one thing I'll say as well about it, if you're having that as the main event, which they obviously did, and they've sold 8,000 tickets out.
so they
I
say.
mean, Dave Allen probably got paid a fortune, but and that Makhmudov obviously probably got paid well. But they used to have cards where they'd sell like 10,000 out in an arena. But the undercard, considering that was the main event, it wasn't even for a title or anything any good. The undercard was awful, I thought.
Yeah. Okay. In the UK at the moment, do you know how many world champions we have from England?
One, isn't it?
Yeah, Nick Ball.
Nick Paul.
Mm.
Yeah, one.
And obviously,
There was a time about 10 years ago when we had about 13, was it? Something like that?
13, 14. Yeah, yeah.
Mm. And we've got one now. So obviously the state of British boxing's declining. I think we've got back in the day. Obviously, we had a period where we had like David A, the late God bless Ricky Hatton,
Yeah.
Cal Zaggy, Carl Froch. You know, all these big name stars that were selling arenas out. Obviously, not stadiums and stuff because it wasn't that big at the time, but selling out arenas. And we don't really have any crossover names at the moment where it's like this guy's a massive public name, like that type of person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably having a knock-on effect as to Britain's performance with the lack of world champions kind of thing.
Mm. Yeah, interesting that, isn't it? Interesting. I'm trying. I'm trying to think where we're going to go here with this. So, what do you see for Rhino next then? Because IFL have put something out. Dylan White rematch with Rhino 2026. Anybody? That's what it says on the front YouTube thing. Do you think that's to just test it in public to see if their opinion, to see if they want to see the Cam
Mm.
Man versus Eddie the Eagle? What do you think?
I think sometimes that happens, doesn't it? Eddie Earns admitted on one interview that sometimes they put leaks of fights out just to see what the public reaction is. There's an interview from Eddie Earn about 5 years ago where he actually says that. So maybe that is actually what they've done. They've put it out there just to see if people like or comment on the post saying, oh, we don't want to see that, or oh, that would be a good fight, or whatever. Personally, I wouldn't want to see it. I think Dillian White's absolutely finished, obviously. But I still think he would beat Dave Allen.
Yeah. Derek Chisora, his 50th fight, he's now come out today saying it might not be his last. Do you think he'll be punching for pay until they carry him out on a stretcher?
Yeah, he's like the new Danny Williams, and he Derek Chisora.
Yeah.
He'll just, I mean, he says anything to stay relevant, and he says anything for money, and we can all slag him off, but probably we'd all do the same if we were a professional boxer. So I'm not really going to slag him off. He's obviously had a lot of good nights and a lot of big fights, but he was basically saying about 6 months ago, from what I can hear, that he will only do his 50th fight if it's for a world title. Now, if Derek Chisora gets a world title shot these days, when you've got like Parker, Usyk, all these people in the
Gabayel.
division, then yeah, that Caballel, I think Caballel could win a world title apart from against anybody apart from Usyk. That's what I think. But
Well,
you've got all these people in front of Derek Chisora in the pecking order. He's lost about 10 times, and he's
13 losses.
13 losses, old enough to be a granddad. Nobody wants to see Derek Chisora fight for a world title these days. So I think he's like basically said that his 50th fight was going to be for a world title. And now he knows, now Parker's fighting Wardley, that he's not going to get a world title fight with his next shot. He doesn't want to sit on the sidelines any longer because he's been sat out for a while, hasn't he? So the longer Derek Chisora sits out, the less people are going to be bothered about him fighting again. So now he's made that statement so that he can have an interim fight in the meantime and still try and hang out for his farewell world title defeat.
Okay. Joe Joyce is in his 41st year. He's looking for an opponent. You think Joe should knock it on Ed?
Yeah, I think he should have retired a while ago. Basically, Joe Joyce, we all know this, but Joe Joyce's best defence was his chin, not his head movement or his blocking or his best defence was, well, you can hit me as hard as you want and it ain't going to do anything to me. But that's caught up with him. And the last few times he's been punched, he's been ironed out. So I mean, he was never, I don't think Joe Joyce is a massive one punch concussive knockout puncher himself. He broke people down and basically took more of your shots than you could take of his shots, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But now that's not the case. Basically, Joe Joyce at the moment could lose to anybody, in my opinion. Not this Ugandan guy that Johnny Fisher's fighting, but like anybody half decent could beat Joe Joyce at the moment.
Yeah. Fabio Wardley, he's had 72 rounds as a pro, undefeated.
Yeah.
Against Joseph Parker, he's had 252 rounds, and there's only a couple of years between them. You think Parker's got a lot of miles on clock to be messing with Wardley? Coming, and also Parker's been fighting hand-picked guys lately, hasn't he?
I personally think that the last few fights, Joe Parker's looked quite good. Obviously, he fought Wilder, and we don't know how much Wilder had left, but he did quite well. He smashed Martin Bacoli, but Bacoli was totally out of shape. But I
Zhang.
still think, uh, yeah, didn't Parker beat Bacoli?
He beat Bacoli and he beat
Yeah,
Zhang before him, didn't he? Old
yeah,
man
Zhang
Zhang.
as well, yeah. But I personally, my opinion is that unless Fabio Wardley lands a lucky punch, Parker absolutely smashes him.
Can Parker keep Wardley off him for 36 rounds? Because Wardley's only got to land one, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, if Wardley, I mean, Parker's got a not a bad chin, has he? I mean, I don't know what happened when he said that he was drinking a lot and partying a lot when he lost to because Dillian White absolutely smashed him, didn't he, and dropped him about 4 times and stopped him or whatever. But I mean,
Joyce
he
stopped
said he
him.
wasn't Joyce. That was it. Yeah, he said he wasn't living the life. I mean, Dillian White elbowed him, didn't he, when he stopped him? But he said he wasn't living the life back then, and now he is. But he's always had a decent chin before that and stuff. I, I favour Parker massively in that fight, to be honest.
He's had 40 rounds, Parker, since Joyce stopped him. Do you think some mileage might have gone on clock there for Parker? You know, he's approaching 34 next birthday. I'm just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
Mm. I don't know really because the fights he's had since Joe Joyce, he's won convincingly, hasn't he? He beat Zhang. Well, he got battered for a while against Zhang, didn't he? Actually, and then he turned the fight around. But he beat Wilder pretty easily. He beat Bacoli pretty easily. And I don't rate Fabio Wardley that high, to be honest. Obviously, he's got a punch and he can punch hard, but I don't think the actual, if you know what I mean, like the boxing exchanges in the fight, I don't think that'll be difficult for Josie Parker. It's literally only if Fabio Wardley lands a bomb on him.
Do you think Parker might go into the fight, whereas he tends to stay out of range, and then you put another 6 inch on that reach? You know, like he did against AJ, where he just stayed out of the way and just stink it out and hope he can nick a points win against Wardley. Or do you
Yeah.
think he'll go in and have a tear up with Wardley and surprise us?
No, I think he'll fight defensively. I
Yeah,
think he'll fight defensively. I think pretty much. I think it will be easy for a lot of people to nick a points win against Fabio Wardley, like that Justice who, and he was about to, wasn't he? Really,
yeah.
he wasn't smashing Fabio Wardley. I think Fabio Wardley's boxing ability is so limited that there'll be a lot of these guys that, unless Wardley knocks them out, they'll beat him on points because most fights Wardley has, he's not really banking rounds by boxing well, is he? He either smashes you to pieces and does so much damage that he has to win the round, or he basically wins when he's losing. Do you know what I mean? He's a banger, and Fabio Wardley, obviously, he's come from the white collar scene, and he's not got much experience. And fair play to him, he's doing the best he can. Like, I'm not here to slag him off, but I just don't think his boxing ability at that level is good enough.
Okay. Well, listen, we're out of time, Michael, but thanks very much for coming on. I hope you're well. When are you back?
January.
January.
I'll be back. Yeah, after the new year. I'm doing a bit of travelling, obviously, as you know. There's been
Yeah.
a lot going on. I went to India, so I'll be back in the new year and we'll have to meet up and have a beer.
Yeah, we'll meet up and have a session. Okay, well,
Yes, mate.
you take care.
Nice one. Nice to,
Ready for one then,
nice to
won't you?
speak to you all again.
Hey?
Nice one, mate.
All right, listen, you take care and hope you're well and give my best to your dad, yeah?
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Cheers, Michael. Thank you very much. Bye
Bye.
bye. That was Michael from, I think he's out Bridge Northway. I've been to his gaff. He's a lovely kid. I hope he's all right. He's spending a bit of time on his own, bless him, traveling the world. I suppose when you've lost your mum and that, you just want to go out and just spend a bit of time with yourself, don't you? So I hope he's all right. He's a lovely kid. I've actually spent a bit of time with him. He likes a fight. And he likes to get out on the town. So I hope he's all right out there and he's behaving himself. I think he is. He'll probably be just running and stuff. So okie dokie. So peace out. Keep on trucking. Keep supporting boxing. Don't have nightmares. If anybody's wants to leave a comment in the comment section, feel free. Or jump on Porky's International YouTube. The sponsors are pinned up in the comment section. Go and treat yourself. Health is wealth. Oh, peace out. Booyaka. Max, I hope you're well. How's your diet? Pop, pop, bang.